In Brazil, candidate Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and Jair Bolsonaro reformed mass activities in the city of Sao Paulo on the last day before the presidential elections. The government of Russia announced the withdrawal of troops in the city of Krasnyi Lyman before the advance of Ukrainian forces. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, condemned this Saturday the military coup in Burkina Faso. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Brazil, candidates Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and Jair Bolsonaro performed mass activities in the city of Sao Paulo on the last day before presidential election. Lula da Silva's followers will gather early in the morning in the emblematic Avenida Paulista to accompany the leader of the Worker Party in a walk throughout the city of Sao Paulo. It's expected that during the event, Lula will be accompanied by the candidate for governor of the state of Sao Paulo, and ex-President Cebola, Fernando Jara, and his formula for vice president, Gerardo Almig. For his part, more than 5 kilometers away, the current President Bolsonaro will leave with motorbike caravan traveling through various points until arriving at a failed square of Baghdad, where he will lead a speech. The Nicaraguan government has immediately and imminently brought diplomatic relations with the Netherlands of its repeated interventionism and neocolonialism's position. This is confirmed by the communique of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Government of Reconciliation and National Unity of Nicaragua. The documents added that the European country continues to offend Nicaraguan families with threats and suspension of work of common goods and hospitals for the populations with special requirements for assistance. The document also confirms that a colonialist tone of European country and reminds them that the world does not forget the crimes against humanity they have committed.
And that we have said to the ambassador, and that we say to the government. Here, in this land, in this homeland, our flag is respected, the flag defended by our Sandino general, and the one who comes here to disrespect our people, our homeland, so he doesn't return to our country. We don't want relations with that interventionist government.
The government of Venezuela reported this Saturday the release of 2 Venezuelans unjustly in prison in the U.S. It is also confirmed that the humanitarian release of several American citizens. Throughout official communique, the Bolivarian government expressed the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela wishes to inform our people and international community that as a result of various talks held since March the 5th with representative of the U.S. government, the release of 2 young Venezuelans unjustly in prison in that country has been achieved. It is also reported that the Venezuelan justice system has decided to release, for the humanitarian reasons, a group of United States citizens subjected to legal proceeding in our country. Still in Venezuela, the second group of the crew of the teleSUR company aircrafts arrived kidnapped by the Argentine justice, where the aircraft and 5 other crew remain detained without any justification. The second group, consisting of 2 members of the entire crew, is composed of a Venezuelan citizen Jose Contreras Garcia and Iranian Mohammad Krosvariak. The fact comes after Judge Federico Villena determined a dismissal of the case and all the proceedings in force of both crew members. With this event, there are 14 released in the framework of an arbitrary judicial process which has not demonstrated responsibility nor the veracity of the accusations against any of those involved. sectors of Cuban civil society are working to bring supplies to Pinar del Rio, the province most affected by Hurricane Ian. This is what a sociocultural project Quisicuaba does together with private workers and several mechanisms. Yesterday, the President Miguel Díaz-Canel mentioned that the country has received support from international organizations, small and medium-sized enterprises, and government of the region, where Venezuela will deliver 300,000 bags of food and supplies, and Mexico supported with 72 meters of cable, 7,000 installers, and other essential resources.
This is exquisite motivation. The principal motivation is to be together, is to help, is to offer a mutual support only for love. Thinking another one is a principal motivation. In our patrimony, in our homeland, we have many conditions for to be help people, for to send a hand for the people in special disability, in special vulnerabilities.
President Joe Biden declared a state of emergency in North Carolina following the effect of Hurricane Ian. According to the White House, the actions authorize the Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Emergency Management Agency to coordinate all disaster relief actions, as well as provide assistance at state, tribal, and local levels. Likewise, the security agency will have the permission to mobilize equipment and resources necessary to alleviate the impact of a natural phenomenon. In the face of the situation, President Joe Biden urged citizens to listen and comply with warnings and instructions from local authorities.
My message to the people of South Carolina is simple. Please listen to all the warnings and directions from local officials and follow their instructions.
Still in the U.S., resource rescue efforts persist in the state of Florida amid floods caused by heavy rains after the passage of Hurricane Ian. This natural phenomenon that made landfall on Wednesday near the city of Punta Gorda like a Category 4 storm, and its wake was caused damage and claimed the lives of at least 45 people. However, the authorities warned that this figure could rise as search and rescue efforts progress. Similarly, it was specified that the whereabouts of some 10,000 people in southwest Florida are still unknown. In many places, the water continues to rise, fed by the Veracruz River. The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, said that neighbors are being looked for house by house, and so far visit about 3,000 houses. We'll take a short break now, but first remember you can now follow us on our TikTok account at teleSUR English. More news coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The government of Russia announced the withdrawal of troops in the city of Krasnyi Lyman before the advance of Ukrainian forces. The city of Krasnyi Lyman was liberted at the end of May 2022 by the Russian forces and their allies, but in the last days, the Ukrainian forces advanced an assault operation, bombing the city and surrounding it from surrounding areas. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, in the last 24 hours, 200 Ukrainian soldiers were killed and 5 tanks and 9 infantry vehicles were neutralized. The ministry also reported that efforts in the city of Krasnyi Lyman, north of the Donetsk region, were redeveloped to a strategic position at risk of being surrendered by the Ukrainian troops in the region. In the U.S., a White House security advisor, Jake Sullivan, declared that Ukraine's entry into the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, is an issue for another time, although they will continue to supply weapons for the conflict. During a press conference, Sullivan said that although the U.S. supports a NATO open doors policy, it considers that a process for the Ukraine to become a member of the alliance is not currently a priority issue. In parallel, he indicated that the best way to support Kiev at this time is through practical support on the ground. He assured that Washington will continue to provide military assistance to Ukraine with a signing of a provision by Congress that includes more than $12 million in additional funds for the purpose. Secretary General of the Alliance, Jens Stoltenberg, recalled that his decision must be taken with approval of the 30 member countries and those who aspire to join the military bloc. In this context, U.S. media revealed this Saturday that the U.S. Department of Defense is prepared to deploy a command center in Germany to monitor and manage the conflict in Ukraine in coordination with its EU and NATO allies. According to the New York Times, the mission is scheduled to include at least 300 people who will be stationed at the European Army headquarters in the German city of Wiesbaden. Likewise, the newspaper stated that the final decision will be taken in the coming weeks. For its part, the Pentagon allocated a new military aid package to Ukraine valued at more than $100 million and including 18 precision artillery systems, more than 150 HIMARS, and transport vehicles. In the Baltic Sea, the researchers of the global emissions monitoring company GHG Sata first recorded the largest release of polluting methane gas after the rupture of the Nord Stream gas. The gas leak rate at one of the force breakpoints reaches 22,920 kilograms per hour, the highest level on record. The Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines suffered this week for the unexplained breakage, which threatens to permanently shut them out. The Russian government claims that it was an act of sabotage and is being investigated by the Prosecutor General's office as authorities attack. Russia's representative to the United Nations, Vasily Nebensia, declared this Friday that breakdowns clearly benefit the U.S. In the UK, the citizens marched this Saturday in rejection of energy tariff. Meanwhile, a protest movement announced that hundreds of thousands will stop paying their bills. These demonstrations are coordinated by the numerous social organizations and trade unions that will take place over the weekend in various cities of the country are given in the framework of the increase of the average annual energy bill for households, which went from 1,971 pounds to 2,500 as of October, which represent a total of $2,790. This at a time when the cold season comes to the country. Given the situation, some 200,000 households have promised to stop paying the bills until the government does more to protect those vulnerable families. We have more news coming up after this final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, condemned this Saturday the military coup in Burkina Faso, ensures that they have broken progress achieved through diplomatic. The group of soldiers headed by the captain of the army, Ibrahim Traoré, announced this September the 30th the dismissal of the intergovernment. The African Club has considered the operation as illegal and considered it the strongest terms the violent seizure of power occurred this week. Both ECOWAS and the African Union have suspended participation in the country depending on the restoration of constitutional power. A handful of Afghan women protest the killing of students in an education center in a Shah neighborhood of Kabul. Carrying banners reading in English and daring "Stop Hazard Genocide," the protesters demanded security from the Taliban government. In the CAD Education Center, staff declared vacant cases by the attack, while victims' families searched through bloody belongings. The attack on the CAD Educational Center, which happened on Friday while the students were taking an exam for university entrance preparation, killed at least 19 people, mostly female students, and wounded 27 others, according to Taliban government officials. But witnesses gave a different account of the death toll, saying it was more than 200. The suicide bombing was the latest in a steady stream of violence since the Taliban seized power. Not one immediately claimed responsibility for the attack.
First, the attacker was just over there, where a huge crowd of students were standing, and he opened fire. At least 40 people were killed there. Those who say only 19 were killed is wrong. Then, when people were trying to escape, the other attacker exploded his explosives here. So I think around, or maybe even more than 200 people were killed.
13 people were rescued on Saturday after 4-story buildings collapsed in Iraqi capital, Baghdad. It is believed that 17 people were inside a building when it came down. The Iraqi Ministry of Interior issued a statement saying that so far the civil defense teams had rescued 13 people from the wreckage, while the works was ongoing to find those still missing. The building, which houses several laboratories, was located in Baghdad's Al-Wachi Square. The Vietnam-Cuba Business Promotion Forum concluded Friday with the signing of 7 agreements for the amount of $500 million. The event, organized with more than 10 local companies in the context of the visit of Cuban Prime Minister Manuel Marrero to the Asian nation, grants a new surface right in Cuba to implement the expansion of the first 20 megawatts in photovoltaic solar parks of the 150 megawatts committed by 2023. In addition, an agricultural livestock project is to be developed in the special area, as well as supply and cooperation initiative in the biopharmaceutical fields. The Chinese government is preparing a plan to strengthen the national currency. The strategy includes reducing U.S. dollars holding in public banking. The authorities ordered state financial institutions to sell their holding in dollars and stock up on yuan, which, according to specialists, could help prevent a further fall in the Chinese currency. Economists expect an increase in the volume of foreign exchange that favors the parity of the yuan against the dollar. In that, after the news broke, the extraterritorial yuan, in which 70% of operations are carried out worldwide, experienced a recovery of 200% to reach a rate of 7,185 yuan per dollar. With that story, we have come to the end of this brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.